All right, any questions?
Hey, Georgia, take us through that first at-bat in the first inning. You just lost to the UL pitcher, and I know you were trying to get those runs home. What was going through your mind? What were you working on mentally there?
I had just missed the last at-bat. It was kind of deflating, I would say, in the sixth. So I knew going against her again, I was like, this is what I wanted to do and the pitches that I wanted to swing at. And I saw her really well the whole day. And going into that at-bat, I just missed the rise ball. And so I kind of knew changeup was coming. And as soon as I saw it get big, I just threw my hands right there and just tried to knock it right back up the middle.
And then take us through the at-bat with the home run.
Yeah, I think Allie had just come in and I had told her, like, I've got your back from the inning before. I was like, we're going to get this. I got your back. I got your back. And all day I had told her, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I have your back. You pitch whatever you want to pitch and we're going to support you. And she did a great job. And Doyle hit the sac fly. And so once that pressure kind of got out the way, I kind of knew, okay, go big as I want, and saw the ball big with 2 strikes and tried to just deliver my team some runs.
Thank you.
Georgia, the at-bat in the first game with a couple runners on, the deep fly to right, it looked like you just missed that one. Did that at-bat have anything to do or fuel the home run at-bat in the next game?
Oh, absolutely. I told Coach Beth at the end of the game, I told her, it's just a couple inches, because we were talking about in practice, like inches are the decider in these games, especially against these really good opponents. And inches were the decider in that game, and I wasn't going to let inches be the decider in the next one. So I said I gave myself an extra couple inches, a couple extra feet.
What was any pregame, in between game talk about facing, the same girl in the circle both games? I mean, did the approach change because the results were just vastly different?
I think once we saw her 4 or 5 times, we were able to adjust like we would be in a series. We always play better in the second and the third game in the SEC. So having that opportunity to see them the second or the third game, pretty essentially, we did really, really well with what we wanted to do in the game plan we wanted to execute coming out right off the bat. That was very important because Sierra Bryant hit the leadoff home run. We're kind of down, Aaliyah and Sierra get on, and it was a big time moment to deliver kind of right then and there.
Does winning 2 games in one day make advancing to a super regional that much sweeter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you can go to a super regional, it's one of the best feelings. Coach just said we're one of the top 16 teams in the nation, and we proved it today that we deserve where we are. We deserve the season that we've had. We played tough opponents. We are very seasoned, and this game really, really, even though we didn't really want to play the third game, we learned a lot about ourselves. And for having a lot of young girls play in that big-time elimination game, it was huge.
Georgia, the reward of being a top 7 national seed is you get to host next week. And I just wanted your early thoughts on being able to, be 2 wins away from the College World Series in your own park.
Oh, yeah, we've waited for this matchup. All the older girls, they've been to Florida State before. They know how that feels. So it's good to know that the Noles will be coming through Baton Rouge to try to get to OKC.
Any other questions for Georgia? Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you.
All right, any questions for Allie?
Allie, for you, just turning around in 2 games, 2 gritty performances, what was the difference between the first one and the second one, if anything?
I think I just kind of had to trust my process and trust my training. And honestly, Coach and I sat down and we just thought of different strategies of different ways to get them out, because they're a great group of hitters, so that we knew we had to kind of change things around, try to change it up a little bit, which meant throwing a lot more change ups the second game, just trying to keep them off balance just because they saw me 6 innings before.
It's funny now, but the throw to first in the last inning, do you just walk? Because I know that happens to you sometimes, but can you just walk us through that a little bit?
Oh gosh, I was really frustrated with myself, but basically I got the ground ball and I was going to throw one, but then I heard my defense yelling 2, and then I just kind of freaked out, and then I just threw it in the air. Not my proudest moment, but.
Georgia, how important was it for y'all to stick together to keep composure throughout the 2 games? Y'all lost the 6th game, and I'm sorry, Allie. but yeah, how important was it to just keep composure, in the seventh to win the game?
I think that seventh inning is, like going to be a situation that we're going to face in supers. Like that is going to be the type that we're going to face all weekend in supers. It's that hype, intense, every pitch counts. Like every pitch in the game counts, but it feels like it gets a little bit bigger in the seventh inning when everybody's on their feet clapping and it's close to the game ending and someone's moving on and someone's season's coming to an end. So I think it was just really big for LSU softball, especially because we're kind of on the younger side. Not a lot of us have been in the postseason, to come out and be able to hold our composure like we did.
Allie, Georgia just said it's a good feeling. It's good to know that Florida State has to come to Baton Rouge after you guys, veterans, have been over there for super regionals. Just your early thoughts on the opportunity to go to the World Series by winning 2 games at home.
I think that's insane. I feel bad for anybody that has to come to Tiger Park and deal with our fans. I mean, we always say our motto is you can't beat crazy. And I think our fans help us in that way because you sure can't beat crazy. Our fans aren't crazy for us and we get so into it. So I think it's going to be tough for anybody that comes to Tiger Park.
Allie, what does this do for a momentum standpoint, just a psyche standpoint of, look, I know you didn't want to play 2 games today, but you did. You gutted out 2 games, 1-1. What does that do for a high pressure situation like a super regional? I know you're hosting, but those are still really intense games as well.
Yeah, I think that we've had to deal with that a lot this year. We've had a lot of double headers, and we've had to come to the realization that we're a team that's hard to beat 2 times in a row. So, I mean, if someone beats us, just know that we're going to come out swinging and knocking you in the face the next time. Like, we're one of the teams that's never going to quit. So I think that this weekend was a huge momentum shift going into supers because we just know that we can come out and fight no matter what the outcome is. Even if we lose Friday, we're going to come straight out Saturday trying to win that game.
Allie, at Missouri, you had what turned into a doubleheader for you. You turned around and pitched twice. What's that like? That mindset to just dig down deep and try to limit your pitch count as much as you can. But you did do that in Missouri, and you did it again today.
I think one of the things that we always talk about, one of our huge mottos here at LSU softball is just to rise higher. Just think to our training. Really like just kind of, I've done this so many times before. I have quality pitches, and when it gets to like the more pitches I throw, the harder games, the more innings we go into, it's just kind of just coming to realization, just trusting what I've been putting so much work into. And I think that kind of comes into play with all of our teammates.
Any more questions for Allie?
Your thoughts on Georgia's single in the first inning to get your team to lead back, and you played with it the rest of the way?
Oh, that was so hype. I thought that was just the coolest thing. I think Georgia is one of the most relentless players that we have. She came up to me after the first game and said, I got you better the second game. And I thought it was so cool because she got that hit and she looks at me and she said, I got you. I told you I got you. And I just think that is just one thing as a pitcher, just like hearing and seeing that it was so hype. And she's just an amazing player. And I'm so glad that I do not have to face her.
Thank you. Yeah, just really, really proud of the team. I think it was a team effort. I think, even the kids that weren't dressed out today, 28 of them all participated and had a part in this. Really proud of my staff. They prepare unlike anyone else in the country, in my opinion. It's the secret to what happens this time of year for us is preparation. They're just the absolute best at it. So I'm excited to move on. I'm excited to host next week, and I'm really just proud of my team.
Coach Glasgow was talking about how good you are as a pitching tactician, pitching coach. In games like this, do you really rely on your experience, especially with someone like Allie pitching 2 games today and gutting out, the second one? I mean, do you really rely on your experiences to get through a situation like that?
It's all about the preparation. Honestly, it's all about just seeing the team, watching the film, interpreting how the film translates to our team. We ended up staying with Allie today because she'd only thrown 75 pitches in the first game, and I thought she was in a good spot. So thought we would continue with her as long as possible. I didn't necessarily expect her to throw the entire game, but her offense allowed her to do that as much as anything. She made big pitches and got out of some situations, but truthfully, her offense was able to keep her in the game as long as she did.
Beth, what was the challenge against Lamb coming into the second game after how well she pitched the first?
Well, she's good. She's good. They're good top to bottom. Honestly, everything about them, they're athletic. They have great hitters. They have great pitchers. They have experience. There's so many older players, veteran players on that team that are incredibly athletic. So, I think Lamb is just another one of those ULL players that is super talented, super aggressive, and just, she's just good. I don't know any other way to say it, but she's talented.
What was your approach? What did you try to do in the second game?
Well, I thought as we went through the game in game one, at bat 1, 2, and 3, we were growing and building. Like our third at bats against her were good. We just ran out of time. So I was confident when we got to at bat 4 that we were going to find a way to break through.
How important was it for Allie to keep composure in order LSU to, keep fighting to win the game?
I can't think of anybody on the field that grew up more today than Allie Kilponen. I think my whole team grew up. They all aged about 7 years, it felt like, out there today. But I think Allie grew up more than anyone else on the field. Just hadn't been in a big moment like that. She'd been in some big SEC moments. We've been battle tested all year, but she'd never had the ball in that situation. And just, lived up to the bill and then some, just really withstood the test today. Was incredible, did exactly what we needed to do. And the cool thing about it was they pushed her out of her comfort zone a little bit and she responded. She went to different weapons today that she hasn't necessarily used all year long. And she was able to respond and find other ways to get people out. It was incredible.
Coach, I know nobody wants to play 2 games on a day like this, but when you have a day like today, you come out on the good end. From a psyche standpoint, what does that do heading into a super regional that you're going to host?
I'm unfazed by the 2 games. We always play the 2 games. I'm unfazed by it. We understand the mentality of it. That's what we do. Would it be easier to win one? Sure, it would, but somehow that doesn't work out for us. I think it's awesome. In hindsight, we would love to have won the first game, but the lessons learned by our team are just so valuable. I think our team just does hard things and they do them well. So I'm proud of the effort. And I think that game 2 is just going to continue this whole theme we have of being battle tested and that we've run the gauntlet this season.
Coach, your players spoke about having to go to Tallahassee for a super regional in the past, and they're very excited that Florida State is returning the trip, so to speak, this time around. Can you just talk about the excitement of being able to host a super regional and, your tough schedule gave you that number 7 national seed to be able to host?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. When they announced the pairing, Amanda Doyle turned around and looked at me and said, that will be 3 of my 4 years. So we've gotten Florida State 3 of her 4 years, which is really interesting. But I love that the tables are turned this time, that we get to host them. We know anything can happen. We've gone to their place and upset them. We've gone to their place and lost to them. So we know that anything can happen. We know that they're talented. We'll get to work. We'll prepare. But I think it'll be a good matchup for us.
Coach, you're 5-0 now in the last 6 years in games deciding regionals. That was a stat given to me by our mutual friend who used to be your media relations guy watching the game. What is it about your team in these game 7s of regionals? We joke, but it seems like you always play in elimination games. But what is it about game 7 regionals where your team rises to the occasion?
I wish their coach was prepared for game 6. That's for sure. But I have no idea why the mentality of our team is this, but they call us the Fighting Tigers, and that's what we do. Like, our kids just understand how to fight and battle. And for some reason, all season long, when their backs have been against the wall, they've answered the call. And I think that is something that has been ingrained in this group forever. Like you said, I know the numbers, I know the stats. We've been here a lot. We've been here too often, and we just seem to excel. Our kids just understand how to fight and battle. They have no quit in them. And they're not afraid of this moment either. We're all constantly reminding them softball is something we do. It's not who they are. There's never a life and death situation on this field. We've experienced life and death this year, unfortunately. This softball game is not life and death. So I don't think we ever play it that way. I think that's a big reason why they're able to come out on top in a game that seems like the magnitude is so big.
Coach, you had, obviously several key moments, both of Georgia's hits were key for you, but can you go back to the top of the first and getting out with one run, just trailing 1-0, big pick off, the throwing the caught stealing a third, just you got out of inning with a chance with the inning get off the rails on you.
I looked down at my clipboard after the inning and I honestly couldn't even put it all together. I think there was a home run, another hit, 3 walks, and somehow they only scored 1 run. I felt the same as you. When I looked down, I was kind of like, how did we even pull that off? I really have no idea how we did. So, so we had some kids make some great defensive plays. I mean, the steal throw out was huge. There were some really big moments by our defense, and they just battled. I mean, we talked to the team, like there was nothing really that pretty about the game, but who cares? It was good enough. That's all we were trying to do, is just be better than ULL today. We kept telling everybody good enough is, right? Good enough is good enough. We said it all day. So was it pretty? No, it wasn't, but we don't care. We're playing next weekend. There's 16 teams left, and we're one of them.
Hey, Coach, pregame we saw, obviously Shelby's been such a big part of your team over this week, and we saw her in a walking boot earlier today before the game, but obviously still played. What's kind of her update? What's kind of going on with her foot? And is she somebody you guys continue to rely on?
Yeah, she's good. She's been in it for about a week. It's more for just rest purposes, for a little nagging thing that's bothering her, but she has been in it for a week, played on it. You saw how great she was all weekend. She was incredible. I mean, I told her after the game, she was such a big reason why we were even in this game today, from her performance the last 2 days. So will be ready to go without a doubt in my mind. She'll probably be more ready to go next weekend, I would guess, because she'll be in better shape.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thank you guys so much for being with us the whole way. We really appreciate the support, and you guys are awesome, and it means a lot to have you guys following us. So see you next weekend.
Congrats, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
You.